We're going to do with a tag this morning and leave the book talk for this afternoon. This tag, this Playing With Your Emotions tag, was created by Padfoot and Prongs 07. I saw Eleasy Books and Reading with Jack do it, and as I like making book lists, I thought I would too. I'm the supplier. This tag is pretty simple. We're given 9 emotions and challenged to find books that fit with those emotions for us as readers. So without any further ado, let's get going. The book that makes me most happy is Matilda by Roald Dahl. You'll see here that this is the copy of Matilda that I've had since I was a child. It has no cover at all, and the pages are detaching from the binding. That is a lot of happy making. Note, I did buy a new copy, so this one doesn't fall apart any more than it already has. My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. Probably the saddest book I have ever read. I read it once, a couple years ago, and I haven't read it since. It was one of those books where as soon as I opened it, I started crying. Let's go with Shine by Lauren Myracle. Now, this book didn't make me angry because of the writing or the story, but because of all of the National Book Award issues surrounding this novel, and the Darkness Too Visible article that spurred the whole YA Saves movement, which is really awesome, and I should have worn my YA Saves shirt instead of my Holden Caulfield shirt. Kids now aren't old enough to remember Matthew Shepard, and that's really what Shine reminded me of. That this kind of violence still exists in the world, and that in and of itself made me angry. I do love the book though, and I almost assigned it to my class this year. Okay, I have 2 books that fit into the nostalgic category, and I'm really going to include them both because I think they're both worth mentioning. The first is The Future of Us by Jay Asher and Carolyn Mackler. This novel is set in 1996, and considered historical fiction, which, as I was a freshman in high school in 1996, makes me feel old. I did a video explaining dial-up internet and 1996 for any of my students who decide they want to read this and they need a little history lesson. Jay Asher thought it was funny. You should click on the book here and watch it, and then come back and finish this one out. The second book that makes me nostalgic was The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Now, I know this book is suited for the sad category, and it definitely made me sad, but quite a bit of that sadness came from nostalgia. See, Augustus and Hazel's stomping ground in Indianapolis was the same as my stomping ground when I lived there. I graduated from the same high school that Augustus went to. I played at Holiday Park. The house that I grew up in was 5 minutes from the Indianapolis Museum of Art. It made me so nostalgic that I'm doing a tour of Indianapolis through the places in The Fault in Our Stars, and you can click on the book here for that playlist. I have to laugh because I feel like such a weenie for saying this, but The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson totally creeped me out. I was seriously reading it at midnight, and I couldn't put it down because I had to know what happened next, even though I was so scared that a noise outside my house made me jump. My surprised book is I Will Save You by Matt de la Peña. It was one of those books where I was surprised at the end, and then felt like I really should have seen it coming. I'm not really going to talk about this book because I don't trust myself not to give it away. You should read Matt de la Peña though, he's pretty awesome. Dark Eden by Patrick Carman. On the heels of the Skeleton Creek series, and with a tagline like "Fear is the Cure," I really wanted Dark Eden to be scarier than it was. I do applaud, however, the multimedia app for Dark Eden, which I do have on my iPad. It's really kind of cool, and I think it's a fantastic way to engage readers who love story and want to read electronically and or are daunted by the length of paper books. The book that made me most distressed was The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. And really, it only made me distressed because I picked up my lovely copy here at Half Price Books when I was visiting my family in Indianapolis. Not knowing that it was a trilogy, I really picked it up because I thought the cover was kind of cool. So I read the first book, only to have it end in a cliffhanger. So I promptly ordered The Ask and the Answer and Monsters of Men, but 2 weeks was way too long to have to wait to find out what happened to Todd and Viola. And I'm gonna have to go with Every You, Every Me by David Levithan, with photos by Jonathan Farmer. I got this one in my box of books at the Allen Workshop in Chicago last November, and because I loved Will Grayson, I picked this one up fairly early on in my reading of the books from that box, because I haven't read anything else by Levithan. I saw reviews on Goodreads a little while later, and people tended to love or hate this novel. And I read it and I'm not really sure what happened. So this is going to be my confused novel until I get a chance to read it again. Thus endeth my response to the Playing With Your Emotions tag. There are links to the videos that I mentioned earlier in the description, as well as a list of the 9 emotions. I'd love to hear your response. Leave your comments here, on Facebook, or on Google+, wherever you happen to see this video, because I tend to post them everywhere. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy reading, and don't forget to be awesome.